So former FBI Director James Comey has been indicted again by the Department of Justice over social media posts that many say takes aim at the president. Todd Pyro joins us with the details. Good morning, Todd.
LJ, good morning. Comey accused of threatening the president's life after posting this photo to Instagram last year. It shows 8647 written in Seashells, the number 86, a slang term which is oftentimes referred to as something that rejects or gets rid of. 47, an apparent reference to Donald Trump, the 47th president of the United States. Comey ultimately deleted the post and claimed he did not realize this could be interpreted as a call to violence. During a press conference, Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche explained what Comey is actually being charged with. Listen.
The first count is that on or about May 15th of last year, he knowingly and willfully making a threat to take the life of and to inflict bodily harm upon the President of the United States. Count 2, James Comey knowingly and willfully transmitting in interstate commerce a communication that contained a threat to kill the President of the United States. Threatening the life of the President of the United States will never be tolerated by the Department of Justice.
Comey is responding to the charges, maintaining his innocence.
Well, they're back. This time about a picture of seashells on a North Carolina beach a year ago. And this won't be the end of it. I'm still innocent. I'm still not afraid. And I still believe in the independent federal judiciary. So let's go. This is not how the Department of Justice is supposed to be. And the good news is we get closer every day to restoring those values.
If convicted, James Comey faces a maximum of 10 years. Lawrence, over to you.
All right.
Comey's wig, uncovering something big. Like Big Mike, a honeypot, no better operation cross-dresser. Like Big Mike, they went off the books, now their balls are cooked. Like Big Mike, 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 Mike. Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Everything will be okay. Guess what day? What day? It's hump day.
Get it on. Okay. All right, let's rock and roll today. I am excited. Jerry. That's too good, Jerry. I can't take it anymore, ladies and gentlemen. Can't take all the winning. I know. I get it as a meme. You'll be sick of winning. But there was a lot of winning yesterday, and a lot of it happened after the show. And so we have on our program today the great Mike Davis, who will come through the show like an absolute ginger giant that he is and knock down the deep state. That is what happened yesterday. I cannot believe it. I can't actually. Klein, can you put up that asset? I just want to establish here what you are witnessing is one of the greatest tears through establishment Washington, D.C. that anyone has ever seen. It's Todd Blanche, man. Todd Blanche, who is the acting attorney general, is just absolutely clobbering right now. It is just a level of decimation and salting of the earth and destruction. And I love it. And there are tactics that are being utilized that were employed against Trump. And maybe it's bad for our body politic, but whatever. You got to fight fire with fire. You have to wield power when you got it. And you got to play by the rules. And if the rules are set by the left, then they should feel the pain of those rules. Todd Blanche, in a matter of 2 weeks, has done mass raids on Somali fraudsters. By the way, that's critically important yesterday. They were doing these raids based on criminal warrants. This isn't just like, oh, we'll send you a deportation here, and we're going to check on your deportation set. No, this is criminal warrants. We'll put you all in prison. They're going to send a much bigger message than like, go see an immigration judge in 2029. We will put your ass in federal prison raids. That happened yesterday to 22 different locations. You can see the boxes of evidence being dragged out by the FBI. Dr. Fauci's scientist arrested. Comey indicted yet again. Won't be the last time. John Brennan under investigation. Fani Willis under investigation. J6 liar Cassidy Hutchinson under investigation. And of course, the SPLC exposed as a hate group. All of this comes on the heels of a massive Act Blue investigation finally getting rolling. A little too late for me, quite frankly. Ladies and gentlemen, these are moves. The man is making moves. Can you scroll down? It says Todd Blanche, beast mode. Ladies and gentlemen, the man is on the moves. So just in time for White Boy Summer. So we're excited about what's happening right now with the DOJ. And today, Wednesday, April 29th, 2026, will be Doomsday for James Comey. The grand wizard at the center of the deep state. If you can take down James Comey, then no one is safe, and James Comey will be arrested live on our show. I don't actually know when he's going to be arrested, but we do have a live shot. Okay, we do have a live shot, and if there's a live shot of the courthouse and of James Comey's house, then it means that, we may get James Comey in handcuffs today. You can see the photogs there. You can see the press have a massive stakeout. James Comey is expected to surrender himself to the Southern District of Virginia today, federal courthouse. That is what is in the shot right there. And we will be live. You can see the microphones sitting there on the press podium. Will James Comey speak? Will James Comey, lanky ass, get dragged out of there and thrown in front of the cameras? We sure hope so. And we're going to be watching. It's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen, today, Wednesday, April 29th, 2026. Trump sends 4 a.m. warning to Iran and so many other big things happening in the world. Again, Mike Davis and Steve Hilton, the next governor of California, will be joining the program. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. Rumble Wallet is an excellent way to ensure that you have what you need in your wallet. If you're somebody who wants to engage in, let's just call it alternative markets, because there's a lot of cratering, there's a lot of skyrocketing, there's a lot of craziness all throughout the markets. If you have crypto, and if you're one of those crypto bros, man, I'm telling you, Rumble Wallet is for you. Major issue with crypto is obviously security. Rumble Wallet is unique in that not only does it provide the tippy-top security, but also allows you to tip your favorite creators directly on the platform, support freedom first community that we've built right here on Rumble. Shout out to the Rumble audience. You can start with just a few dollars, and with MoonPay built into Rumble Wallet, you can easily build up crypto using your credit card, debit card, or bank wire. Click the link in the description for Rumble Wallet in your app store. Download Rumble Wallet today. Move your assets to where they belong, in your hands and in your control. Rumble Wallet is a technology provider only and not a custodial service. See terms at wallet.rumble.com. Here we go. Okay, so former FBI Director James Comey arrested. James Comey is arrested on charges, and I think there's something a little bit more here, and I want to get into it. James Comey is somebody who regularly bragged in his time as FBI director that he entrapped General Flynn. General Flynn's a friend of our program. I don't know if General Flynn is booked this week. I would love to have the general on the show. General Flynn is somebody who was entrapped by James Comey because James Comey took advantage of the first Trump administration. And the first Trump administration was just getting their legs underneath them. I think we can all remember 2016. As much as we love Trump, very few people thought he was really going to win. And those true believers, weren't ready. And when Trump was just getting his legs on, it was like a little shaky because this is like the federal government has 3 million employees. To get hold of that, even if you're a very good businessman, and to sort of seize all of the energy in an arena like that, takes a lot of getting used to. President Trump, I think, has done a much more admirable job this time around. Could you imagine, just kind of randomly getting control of 3 million employees that all hate you? 98% of them hate you. And so James Comey took advantage of the naivete and perhaps some of the hopium and copium of the original Trump crew. I think we would have had and I believe this in my heart of hearts, and I know you do too in the chat, I believe we would have had a totally and completely different administration had General Flynn been able to have the president's back. What they did is they systematically went after the people that they knew were the smartest and knew where all the bodies were buried, and they were able to gut them one by one, and they took them out. And this is what they did with General Flynn. How did James Comey do this? He set up a perjury trap. Perjury trap, of course, is when you knowingly ask someone questions that you think they might lie about, or you catch them in a lie, and then, of course, lying to a federal agent is a crime, and that is exactly what happened when James Comey sent his agents over to the White House. He bragged about it here, which, I mean, you're well aware that this is we try our best. We're simple Christians here. But we find like the dripping irony in all this is that, as the scriptures say, the weapons that you form will be used against you. Pride cometh before destruction. Could you imagine having the bloody cheek, to use a British term, since the king, was here yesterday? Actually, Christ is king. It's British royal. It's kind of like, just shuffle him off, right? Trump was actually like roasting him and making fun of him to his face. It's kind of neat event last night. I don't know if we have anything about it in the show, but the king gave Trump a giant bell from the HMS Trump that was used in World War II. It's a very cool gift anyway. It was wonderful to see. This wasn't wonderful to see. This is James Comey acting like a king, openly bragging about how he entrapped General Flynn out on stage. Here we go.
Both of those administrations, there was process. And so if the FBI wanted to send agents into the White House itself to interview a senior official, you would work through the White House counsel, and there'd be discussions and approvals and who would be there. And I thought, it's early enough, let's just send a couple guys over. And so
there you go. So he said,
we placed a call to Flynn.
It's
said, hey,
early enough.
A couple guys over.
Just want to pause right here because he's such a snake. He like lies with every breath he takes. It's early enough. He told you everything in saying that. He says, I am taking advantage of the Trump team before they get their lawyers and before they get their process. I'm going to try to attack President Trump before all of this happens. And that is exactly what he did. And then he locked Flynn in a room with FBI agents when he should have never been allowed to do that. And he did what?
Hope you'll talk to them. He said, sure. Nobody else was there. They interviewed him in a conference room at the White House Situation Room, and he lied.
Nobody else was there.
And that's what he's now pled guilty to.
What did he think they were coming over there for?
I don't think he knew.
This is James Comey making it like cracking jokes about how he entrapped General Flynn. Now, here's what my little birdies tell me. Is nobody knows anything about this indictment against James Comey. This was handed down in the Eastern District of North Carolina, where James Comey made his little seashell post. 8647, we've covered this extensively. That means in slang to, go kill Trump. James Comey posted it on social media. And then he lied about it. And this is what I find the most interesting, is that like James Comey blamed his wife for all of this, knowing he was in trouble, deleted the post, blamed his wife for all of it, said he didn't set up the shells. There's a lot of evidence here. There's a lot of like narrative and weaving, and then James Comey apologized for it. There's a lot of like ways that you could catch James Comey in a lie. And what I wonder here is if James Comey, the reason why they returned this indictment and they were able to do it so quickly was because James Comey was caught in a perjury trap, the same kind of perjury trap that he was bragging about that he set for General Flynn. I do wonder that. I do wonder if this is like just one of those really special pride cometh before destruction moments. Is James Comey undone by the same thing? You remember when they found all those classified documents in Joe Biden's garage next to his Corvette, next to a lamp, next to Hunter Biden and his cocaine and his crack pipe? You remember that? The classified documents had crack pipe burns on them. Listen to James Comey's explanation here. We'll just go really fast here. Listen to James Comey's explanation.
You had long been a server in restaurants, and she said, you know what I think it is?
Yeah.
I think it's a
Talking about his
reference
wife.
to restaurants when you would 86 something in a restaurant.
Right,
I
it's off
said-
the menu.
Yeah. I said, no, I remember when I was a kid, you'd say 86 to get out of a place. This place stinks, let's 86 it.
Right, I was a bartender. You would 86 a customer if they were getting drunk. Like, let's 86 them. Let's, like, give them a low-proof alcohol, something like that. Yeah.
And so I said, I think it's a clever political message. And she said, you should take a picture of it. I said, sure. And then she said, you should Instagram that. And boom.
Wow, way to go, bro. Real strong move there. Blame your wife. You know, it's like, great. Could you imagine living with these left-wing men? Like these left-wing men, like you're talking negative testosterone. Oh, yeah, I'm in real trouble. I'm going to get indicted for this. I'm going to blame my wife for all of it. Now, they said that they just found the shells. I don't think so. I think, without a doubt, James Comey in his little Borat Speedo, like put the shells together, right? The way I envision it is James Comey is sitting there. He's listening to Taylor Swift. He's like blaring Taylor Swift on a Bluetooth speaker, and he's crying like he has a tear in his eye. He's wearing a neon green Borat Speedo, and he's like arranging the shells himself very daintily and tiptoeing throughout the beach, right? And dancing like a ballerina. And his wife is like sitting there, texting her old college boyfriends. That's what I think. That's the way that I envision it. I don't know. I wasn't there, but that's how I see it going down. And if they were able to get those shells, they would be able to get DNA from the shells. They would be able to see, like, maybe James Comey after you build the shells. There's a lot of ways that you could find or catch James Comey in a lie here. And that's what I wonder. I wonder if they set a perjury trap for James Comey. And Todd Blanche was on this morning talking about this. And there's a ton of brand new evidence that we're hearing. I mean, James Comey is going to turn himself in this morning, according to CNN. Kash Patel saying that James Comey threatened the life of the president. And as you know, shortly after posting the threat, he deleted it, issued an apology, of course, so he knows what he did was wrong. James Comey blaming his wife. But what I really like is this James Comey takedown from Todd Blanche this morning on CBS. Just to show you that, like, I don't know, how do they say it? The adults are back in charge? Dude, like, this is a masterclass, an absolute masterclass by Todd Blanche explaining all of this. I think we're gonna have to go quickly here, but listen to what it sounds like when you have a guy who has gone through all of the President Trump lawfare and impeachment nightmares, and just like a reminder to every single Democrat. And before we play this, I think this is just critical. Democrats arrested not just Trump. Democrats arrested half of our movement. It's not. Here's a comprehensive list here. Democrats arrested Donald Trump, Walt Nauta, Carlos de Oliveira, Stephen Bannon, Peter Navarro, Thomas Barrack, Matthew Grimes, Rudy Giuliani, Mark Meadows, John Eastman, Kenneth Chesebro, Sidney Powell, Jenna Ellis, Scott Graham Hall, Sean Still, James Schaefer, Kathleen Latham, Jeffrey Clark, Trayvon Cootie, Robert David Shealy, Harrison William Prescott Floyd, Stephen Clifford Lee, Ray Staggs Smith, Michael A. Roman, Misty Hampton, Kelly Ward, Tyler Boyer. Many of these people, by the way, are like personal friends of mine. Nancy Collette, Jacob Jake Hoffman, Anthony Kern, James Lohman, Robert Montgomery, Samuel Moorhead, Lorraine Pellegrino, Gregory Staffen, Michael Ward, Boris Epstein, Christina Bobb, Alan Weisselberg, Michael McDonald, Jesse Law, Jim Grangerfield, Duran Hindle, Sean Meehan, Ellen Rice, Kathy Barron, William Hank Choate. These are all of the people. These are the Democrat arrests. You couldn't. Have there been like Republican arrests actually? Again, like, we're trying to do a white pill show, but have there actually been Democrat arrests of Democrats? You got a couple of charges with Letitia James didn't stick. Maybe a couple things with James Comey first time didn't stick. Have we even gotten there? Well, starting yesterday, I think you could start building this list. And unlike these bull charges, the DOJ for President Trump, like, the charges that they're bringing are going to stick. So in case anyone's like, well, I don't know, I don't like it, I'm not sure. Like, don't be a sweet summer child. Don't, please. Remember what world we're living in here. By the way, many of these people, again, friends of our program, you can catch them on our show. You know these people. They come on this program, they talk with you, they speak to you live. These are the people that the Democrats arrested for what exactly? Any of these people in jail? How about you ask? Yeah, that's a great one. Peter Navarro and Steve Bannon went to jail, for sure. Any of these people in jail, they want to put Trump in jail for 400 years. No, of course, they arrested him because the process is the punishment. The process is going to cost you so much money. It's going to hurt you. They want a Jen Ellis. They want everyone to cuck like Jen Ellis did and cry her mascara out in front of the great fat ass Fani Willis. That's what they want. They want that. The whole thing is a communist humiliation ritual. The whole thing is a communist struggle session. Stand in my courtroom and apologize. Apologize. That's right. That's what Fani Willis was saying. Bloviate and blubber and cry your mascara tears so that the whole world can see how ashamed you are for working for President Trump. That was their crime. All of these people's crimes were why I worked for Trump. That was it. None of them committed any crimes. None of them are in prison. None of them. Some of them went to prison. Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro went to prison, and they did so proudly. They put Peter Navarro in shackles and walked him through Reagan National. Have you seen any of that? Where's Dr. Fauci in shackles? We'll get there. Todd Blanche did an unbelievable job this morning. Machine Gun Todd is what we're going to call him. Machine Gun Todd. Listen to this.
That evidence is not something that anybody can talk about today. But when you talk about whether proof exists, the proof that we have is in the fact that the grand jury returned an indictment. Remember, that is not the Department of Justice charging James Comey with a crime. That is a grand jury returning a 2-count indictment.
Let's do a compare and contrast, Mr. Blanche. In 2022, someone well known in right-wing circles, Jack Posobiec, posted on X, 8646. He did not take it down. He did not apologize. Mr. Comey has done both of those things. The Biden Justice Department never prosecuted him. By the standard of that grand jury, Jack Posobiec should face charges as well. Will the Justice Department pursue that case? Because they sound very similar.
That's just completely not true. That's not how a grand jury does its work. They don't just look at a single image and then say, okay, yes, we'll indict, or okay, no, we won't indict. They do an investigation. This conduct took place in May of last year, May 15th. It has been almost a year. I assure you, the FBI, the Secret Service, and the U.S. Attorney's Office have not been sitting around doing nothing. They have been investigating. I have no idea whether there was an investigation into the other times that post has been made and whether that investigation yielded different results. This investigation that we undertook resulted in a 2-count indictment. So you cannot compare, well, what happened last time, what happened this time. Every investigation is different. You know that. The American people know that. A lot of factors go into whether somebody should or should not be charged. The mere fact that there's a similar photo posted or similar statement made, that's true. Every day there's comments made about President Trump, threats made against President Trump. Every one of those are not indicted. It depends on the facts of every case.
Mr. Blanche, you lived this history much more than I did, but I'm going to paraphrase what you said about the hush money case that was brought in New York. You said at the time, supposedly serious people were bringing unserious charges and warping the language and the facts and the law because there was a political imperative beyond that. Are you telling the American people this morning that this is a serious case and this is a serious set of charges and that laws and facts are not being warped to carry out a political agenda?
Look at the indictment. That's not for me to decide. That's for the American people to decide. And if anybody in this country thinks, especially what happened over the past couple years with respect to President Trump, that it is okay for anybody to threaten the President of the United States, that it is okay to threaten the President of the United States and then have the media or others say, well, that's not serious, then we have a bigger problem than I even imagined in this country. Of course it's serious when you threaten the President of the United States, and anybody that tries to put forward some narrative that this is just about Seashells or something to the contrary is missing the point. You cannot threaten the President of the United States. That's not my decision. That's Congress's decision and the law that they passed. And so, yes, of course this is a serious case.
Mr. Blanche, did the President of the United States in any way direct you to pursue this matter?
Of course not. Absolutely, positively not. And there's no suggestion that that's the case that happened. And the fact that we're doing our work, this is not something that just happened the past couple of weeks. This is something that has been investigated for nearly a year now. And the results of that investigation is a grand jury returned an indictment.
Critics of you and this administration, Mr. Blanche, have suggested this is an audition to become the nominee to be Attorney General, is it?
Listen to this. Okay, last one. Listen to
I
this.
don't even know what that
And then
means.
we have some breaking news.
We work hard every single day. The Department of Justice returns over 100 indictments across this country every single day, making this country safe. And so this narrative, this idea out there that somehow I'm auditioning, I've worked with President Trump for many, many years. I don't audition for this job. I've been the Deputy Attorney General for over a year. Okay, this is not an audition.
Massive.
And you are confident.
Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we have monster breaking news. We have monster break. Klein, I need the breaking news stinger, and then I need the white pill stinger. Back to back. Let's go. How did that work so well? It worked amazing. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking of working, the Supreme Court has just struck down Article 2 of the Voting Rights Act. You can no longer rig elections based on the color of people's skin. That's an amazing accomplishment in the year 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, massive ruling right now. The Supreme Court has ruled that drawing congressional districts based on your skin color, which is insane because my skin color is totally different than the skin color of white people in Miami because they spend all day on the beach and I spend all day in a black box. Anyway, that's crazy. It's insane, this ruling, how it was set up in the Voting Rights Act. It's wrongheaded, and the Supreme Court just destroyed it in a 6-3 decision. They said it is unconstitutional. And now your sweet, sweet Southern summer child is going to look like this. Look at all these blue districts that are drawn because black people live there. Again, it's an insane thing to do. It's corrosive to our nation to say, oh, yeah, you have a different skin color, therefore we should give you special privileges of drawing lines in your favor. Nope. That has nothing to do with e pluribus unum. That has nothing to do with trying to create a harmonious society. It has everything to do with rigging elections. And look at your boy. This is what you could get now. This could be a net 12 seats for Republicans, and it's time for the South to start cooking with motor oil. Time for the South to start cooking with some spicy jambalaya. Look at them go. We just can't stop winning today. Look at this. Here it is. In a 6-3 decision, the Supreme Court ruled that Louisiana's creation of a majority black district that stretches across the state from Shreveport to Baton Rouge is an unconstitutional gerrymander. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. This is a video. I don't have a better asset. Hopefully the production team, best in-house, best in class, is getting me an asset of Louisiana's congressional districts. Look at this. That's it. That's the silly district. Bing bong. So stupid. It did not strike down Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act entirely, but it ruled that drawing districts based solely on race is unconstitutional, which is what that section says. Without racial gerrymandering of the southern states, Republicans could gain at least a dozen seats. Boom, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. Supreme Court tosses out Louisiana congressional map. Do we have that map? Tosses out Louisiana congressional map, which added a second majority minority seat that went to Democrats. Ruling was 6-3 conservatives versus liberals. Oh, wow. Could you imagine Ketanji Brown Jackson right now? Just weeping. Look at that. Look at that. Would you get a load of this? Would you get a load of that? That's worse than anything that they did in Virginia. This is worse. And what they did in Virginia is atrocious. This is worse than anything that happened, than anything in Virginia. Look at that map. It looks like a Jackson Pollock painting. This looks like Joe Biden thought he was putting stevia in his chamomile tea before going to bed at 6 p.m. But instead of stevia, it was actually a little bag of cocaine left by Hunter. And then Joe Biden hopped up on chamomile cocaine, went wobbling down to the Oval Office, grabbed the auto pen, and started banging out auto pen signatures. And that's what that looks like. That looks like the drawing that would occur with Joe Biden on crack with his auto pen on full power, right? So you ramp it, you crank the power of the auto pen up to 11. That's what it looks like. Look, would you get a load of that garbage? In no universe could you possibly justify this. It is unjustifiable. It's the best part about being a Republican. You can actually justify the things that we stand for. Fair maps, fair districts, all men are created equal, there are two genders, children shouldn't be mutilated, children shouldn't be propagandized. You can justify it. You should make assassination jokes about anyone, including Trump, including Michelle Obama. Like, you shouldn't make those assassinations. Those are bad. Like, we can have ideologically consistent worldviews. This is hideous. This is the most hideous map I've ever seen. It's a beautiful thing. Back to my screen. Please, let's read the ruling, and then let me know if Mike Davis is ready to pop on. Mike, dude. Yes, Mike's set. Okay, sorry. We have breaking news here. The Constitution almost never permits a state to discriminate on the basis of race. Boom. Shaka. Laka. Well, there it is. Ladies and gentlemen, lucky for us, we have Mike Davis in the queue, ready to rock. Let's freaking go. Right now. Yo, Mikey. I'm against this ruling because I would like to redraw the districts based on red people, and you would be your own district. It would be great to have. I think that you are not represented enough in our country, and I've seen people be racist against you. And so I would like to draw a red district just for you. But what I mean by that is not a Republican district, but a literal district full of red people.
No, it's the National Association for the Advancement of Ginger People, Ben, NAAGP. We are the lowest people on the totem pole. We are lower than trans. So we need our organization. We need our congressional districts. It's open season on us. We're going extinct, and everyone's very happy about that.
True. It's very hard for you to hide, when you're being hunted, through the forest. It's very hard. A big old red blot. Okay, what's going on here? Please give us the over/under. All of the Supreme Court justices that you put on the Supreme Court. So few people understand this, but I do. I know the lore. Many of the Supreme Court justices that you fought tooth and nail for and you put on that court, they decided rightly. It was a 6-3 decision. That's overwhelming.
Yeah, and so the Voting Rights Act of 1965 was enacted to end intentional racial discrimination, right, in voting, in districts, and it's been misconstrued since then to allow racial discrimination in voting in congressional districts. And the Supreme Court properly held today that you cannot slice and dice Americans based upon race. The only time that you can use race, the federal government or states can use race in a determination is when you are, number one is if you're trying to prevent racial prison riots. That's a very narrow exception. Number two is when there's intentional racial discrimination that you're trying to remediate. And so that didn't pass muster here in Louisiana. They don't just get to create districts based upon race, DEI districts based upon race. And the Supreme Court correctly held that creating these DEI districts, these racial districts, violates the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. It's not permitted by Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act of 1965.
How much do you think that Ketanji Brown Jackson was like screaming or I guess talking into her pillow? Because she says so many words inside of the Supreme Court. What's your message to Ketanji Brown Jackson here?
Well, I said this, Ben, on your show and other shows when Biden picked her. Biden said he was only going to pick a black woman for the Supreme Court. And there were three top contenders: Ketanji Brown Jackson in D.C., Leandra Kruger in the California Supreme Court, Michelle Childs, a D.C. judge as well, D.C. Circuit judge as well. Two of those judges, Childs and Kruger, would have actually been smart enough to build bridges in a 6-3 minority. They would have built bridges with conservative judges, conservative justices, to pick them off from time to time and eke out liberal wins or moderate wins from time to time, maybe pick off Kavanaugh or the chief or Amy Coney Barrett, maybe even my old boss Gorsuch. Joe Biden picked Ketanji Brown Jackson, who repels everyone. And that's the problem. She is so counterproductive for the liberal cause. And I think that Justice Elena Kagan is the biggest loser of that appointment of Ketanji Brown Jackson, because she has Justice Sotomayor, who's a very sweet lady, writing her emotive dissents. And then you have Ketanji Brown Jackson, who irritates everyone, writing her ignoramus dissents. And then you have Elena Kagan, who's actually very smart and strategic and tactical, who has to be pulling her hair out right now. And today's 6-3 ruling is Exhibit A of that, of how stupid it was for Joe Biden to pick Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Elena Kagan hasn't had much hair left. We saw it at the State of the Union. Whoa. So yeah, she must be pulling her hair out. Okay. You're talking about people that repulse the greater American population. James Comey is one of those individuals. James Comey had a very bad day yesterday. I want to get your take on it.
Yeah, James Comey, the former FBI director, the former deputy attorney general, the former U.S. attorney, thinks it's funny and cute to post a Instagram picture of 8647 Seashells in North Carolina. He was dumb enough to do it in North Carolina. This was after 2 assassination attempts against President Trump during the campaign. James Comey knew exactly what he was doing here. This was several months into President Trump's second term. He just got a broad electoral mandate. He was not talking about impeachment or, kicking him off TV or kicking him off X. He was talking about killing President Trump, which is a federal crime. You cannot make threats against the president of the United States. That's one felony. You can't transmit those threats online. That's a separate felony. And so that's why the citizens of the Eastern District of North Carolina returned this 2-count indictment against James Comey for felony charges. They say, he has a First Amendment right to do this. No, you don't. You do not have a First Amendment right to threaten government officials, particularly the President of the United States. The reason this case was so important, and I want to say hats off to Pam Bondi for starting this investigation many, many months ago, and hats off to Todd Blanche and Kash Patel, Trump's acting attorney general and Trump's FBI director, for bringing these long overdue, much needed charges after President Trump faced his 3rd assassination attempt last Saturday. And the guy tried to carry out this 3rd assassination attempt according to his manifesto because he was been inspired by hateful, crazy, partisan, false rhetoric by Democrat leaders like James Comey, for example. And so that is why it's so important, particularly if you're a former FBI director, particularly if you're a former deputy attorney general, particularly if you're a former U.S. attorney, for the grand jury in North Carolina to bring these charges, to send a message. This is not acceptable. The Democrats have created an assassination culture. They want President Trump dead. They want Steve Scalise dead. They want Charlie Kirk dead. Unfortunately, they succeeded there, but they have an assassination culture. They can't win debates. They can't win elections. And so what do? They just try to kill their political opponents. It's unacceptable. The Democrat political leaders like James Comey cheer this on. Wink, wink, nod, nod. They know they have deranged. Actually, I keep saying deranged. They're not deranged. These are everyday Democrats who are doing this. School teachers in California. This is today's Democrat Party. They are the party of violence. They are the assassination party.
We have actually Steve Hilton ready to go from California, and so Mike, we have a hard out here, but I wanna just and Steve's leading in the polls, so let's make sure that he has the correct security there in California. Just real quick, your over under on how this is going to go for James Comey.
This is a grand jury and a jury pool in the Eastern District of North Carolina, not the Eastern District of Virginia, the suburbs of DC, with a bunch of Democrat government workers and Trump deranged rhinos. If the jury follows the evidence and follows the law, James Comey should be found guilty because he committed very serious federal felonies here. But you know what? I kind of like James Comey, who dragged General Michael Flynn through a bogus criminal prosecution, President Trump's incoming national security advisor. I say to James Comey, go to hell. And in the meantime, good luck at trial.
Are you measuring those extra long jumpsuits? Orange jumpsuits?
What is it? 6'7" orange jumpsuits. I think he would make a very nice prison lawyer. So James Comey could have a higher purpose, going to prison and writing habeas petitions for MS-13 and Tren de Aragua prisoners.
Oh, there's this classic clip where James Comey is talking about how Donald Trump would love prison and he can just live in a double wide at the end of the yard and do his workouts and eat there. And it's like, man, bro, that could apply to you as well. So it's going to be an exciting timeline. Thank you, Mike. We hope that you'll join us again. There's so much. Todd Blanche, man, is moving like it's white boy summer. Really impressive. Honestly,
he's great.
Really impressive. Everybody follow Mike. Everybody knows Mike and the Article 3 Project. Fight with the people who are fighting for you. Godspeed, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we've got to go right to Steve Hilton. We're honored to have him on the program. Let's rock and roll. Steve, well done. You did incredible in that debate. Mike Davis was talking about how the Democrats can't debate, and you proved that. You just went rip roaring. How exciting was that being on stage with, one down for the Democrats when it comes to the actual field?
I know, but like every time you see these people, you think, is this really it? Is this the, like, I talked to the president about it. When the president endorsed me and we had a conversation, and in that classic Trump phrase, they're not sending their best. And you think, well, maybe this is their best. That's the problem. What are we left with? Katie Porter, Javier Becerra, Biden's utterly useless health secretary, who actually claims his record as health secretary when we forced 2-year-olds to wear masks and lost tens of thousands of children. All these things are like why we should make him governor. And then the billionaire climate fanatic, Tom Steyer. It's just unbelievable. This is who we got.
So, okay, like talk us through what's happened now in the post Eric Swalwell universe. And also, as governor, should Eric Swalwell expect that you will be in full favor of investigations into his activities?
And the others, yeah, of course. I mean, this is the point that actually is deeper than just Eric Swalwell, is that these are the death throes of a corrupt, dying regime. The whole Swalwell scandal, the fact that you had the establishment in California all lining up behind him, knowing what he'd been up to. I'm not saying they knew the exact details, the exact names of the alleged victims and so on, but they all knew. And yet you had the teacher unions, SEIU, the whole Pelosi crew, Adam Schiff, all these people lining up behind him. And now they're all running away from him. But we need to understand what they knew. And of course, the campaign finance aspects to this. There's a whole bunch of stuff we need to look into. But the truth is that these people, whoever they send, and that's what's apparent in these debates, they really have nothing new to say. They got nothing new to offer. Their 16 years of one-party rule have been a complete disaster for California, and it's obviously time for change.
You would have an enormous amount of power to look into some of this criminality. It's really existential for the Democrat Party because the Democrat Party's only hope is California's corrupt and rigged system. They have Kamala Harris going to be running. She's obviously told everyone she's running in 2028. And then they have Gavin Newsom, and that's it. That's all. That's their entire field, and it seems like a SNL sketch, Steve. But if you were governor and you were looking into the Democrat Party ecosystem and machine in California, whilst the two of them, who are the main beneficiaries of that machine, are running for president, this could be this could spell disaster.
Well, exactly, and that's why I've always made the point that I'll not only be cleaning up California when I take office in January, I'll be making sure that whatever happens, these two people who would be such an utter disaster for the country never make it to the Oval Office, because the machine is so dirty, it's so corrupt. And that interplay between the unions and the trial lawyers, all these donors that have been pushing this machine forward for years. And then you look at the fraud that we're uncovering, and you were part of that, of course, Benny, and the scale of it. And when you actually look at the money that's been stolen, our estimate from Cal Doge, 425 billion in the last 5 years. That's around 80 billion a year on average. Most of that we've found so far in the individual investigations that we've done, the taxpayer money actually ended up, I mean, of course, a few of them are scam artists who bought luxury, cars and vacations, and those guys are some of them being prosecuted now. But the majority that we're finding went to the Democrat machine, to these political nonprofits registering voters. You saw James O'Keefe exposing the end of that chain, where they're taking that. You saw the taxpayer money being handed over to people in the street and homeless people to make up fake names, to sign ballot initiatives. I mean, it's so unbelievably corrupt. And because you've had 16 years of one party rule, plus they've packed the courts, everyone forgets about the courts. The California Supreme Court, 6-1 Democrat majority, all the courts are completely stacked with political far left appointees. And so actually, this is why they're terrified, because you get a governor in there, governor's got a lot of power to expose all of this. And the other part I'm excited about doing is the code. I mean, we never forget what they did during the lockdowns. That was totally corrupt as well. People forget all this. Gavin Newsom buying masks and ventilators from some Chinese company that was connected via donations. There's so much there. It's going to be a lot of work.
It's going to be a lot, but it's a target-rich environment, and when business is good, when you're busy, so you'll be very, very busy. Steve, we saw some Dr. Fauci ecosystem arrests yesterday. Dr. Fauci's second in command was arrested for the criminality of covering up the origins of the COVID virus. How are you going to approach the way that California engaged with COVID? Because, of course, California was the tip of the spear. California and New York, and the way that they treated the citizens of their states, downright criminal.
Absolutely the worst. I mean, we had the longest and most cruel lockdowns in the country. Newsom specifically doing that, certainly in relation to the schools, because of the corrupt relationship with the teacher unions. We have to expose that. We're going to be demanding records of all conversations and so on, because we know that. I've heard from people that that's exactly why that happened. But I want to also go back to Fauci. Remember that he's got that pardon from Biden, doesn't apply at the state level. And so I was the first to expose the Fauci gain of function experiments that were the origin of COVID. I was the first to lay that out. I actually had whistleblowers from within the biotech community from my time teaching at Stanford University. I was following that trail before anybody else. I really know what happened there. And he's got away with it. And the point about Fauci that everyone needs to remember, it wasn't just that he funded the lab in Wuhan. He commissioned the specific experiments. He commissioned them and pushed them through. And he broke two sets of rules to do it. The Obama administration rules banning this kind of experimentation, and the new Trump administration rules. And so there's a strong case for his prosecution on those grounds. And he's getting away with it maybe at the federal level. Doesn't mean he gets away with it at the state level. I haven't forgotten Dr. Fauci.
Wow. So you are making a declaration here that you would push to bring state charges on behalf of the 50 million Americans who live in California and the cruelty that Dr. Fauci engaged in against your population.
Knowingly, he did it despite all the warning. This is the point, that there was a ban on this kind of research put in place by the Obama administration, and then a new moratorium of a different kind put in place by the incoming Trump administration. One in 2014, one in 2017. Both times, Fauci pushed through regardless, knowing the risks. There was a whole body of scientific evidence warning against what he was doing, but he was so pig-headed and arrogant. He pushed it through anyway. He has not been held accountable. He must be held accountable.
I know that you're up against it hard out, Steve. I hope you won't mind one more quick question here as it comes to the breaking news of the Voter Rights Act. So now it looks like Republicans may get a net 12 seats because they got rid of racial gerrymandering, which is an insane thing that did exist in this country. California sort of kicked off this whole we're going to gerrymander our way into winning the midterms. How are you going to undo that in California? Because California, I think I saw the chart, is the most, when it comes to representation of Republicans, is the worst state in the union for disenfranchising Republicans.
It's totally disgusting. And I'm afraid because it was done through a ballot initiative, again, corruptly pushed through their courts. I filed a lawsuit to try and stop this. And the corruption that was involved in blocking my lawsuit was unbelievable. For example, the hearing date that I was given for what they did is clearly unconstitutional in California. The hearing date that I was given was 2 days after the vote. It was a Biden appointed judge. It was totally corrupt. So I did everything in my power to stop it. Now, unfortunately, because it's gone through as a ballot initiative, that's the only way you can undo it. But the best thing we can do in California and the most achievable goal to correcting this egregious assault on everything that we value is to vote for a Republican governor this year. And that is a possibility. We really can do that. And that's why I'm so excited about the months ahead.
All right. We love you, Steve. Just a parting question. Are you good with security, man? This is something that's been scaring me as you rise in the polls, as polls are showing you 5 points ahead of everybody else. I think the Democrats might get very desperate here.
Well, I think we are. Take it seriously, and I appreciate the concern, and we're going to be good. Thank you, Benny.
Thank you, Steve. Godspeed. Godspeed. Everybody follow Steve Hilton, the next governor of California, promising $3 gas right there in the X bio. Godspeed, Steve.
Thank you.
What an absolutely wild show. We have something very special for you. We have a image that just pains me that we weren't able to put on with Mike Davis. Maybe we'll be able to book Mike. Again, that was a very short interview for Mike. There's a lot going on. An image of James Comey in a extra long or perhaps extra short jumpsuit. This is what we were able to come up with. So I want to talk through, we have scientists who work here. We have MIT physicists who work at the company, and they ran calculations. It took them days, and they ran calculations of what James Comey would look like in a prison jumpsuit. Our AI and actuarial models, we have a whole data center devoted to them. And this is what the calculations came up with. We've been working very hard. We've been working overnight, actually, to come up with this image. And here it is. This is the most accurate image of James Comey in a jumpsuit that exists on the internet from our physics laboratory and an AI laboratory. Really, this is as good as you can get, frankly. So thank you, team, to our intrepid team of scientists who work around the clock in order to create these photorealistic and accurate images. Okay. We're having too much fun on this program. All right. Rip roaring this morning. Bond charge, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure that you are rip roaring straight into sweet sleep. When I use my bond charge, you can use any time of the day. It is a wonderful red light brand. Red light is something that is evidence-based optimization for your life. I've been noticing if you have wrinkles or blemishes, razor burn, which is what I have, or if you're just stressed out at the end of the day and you need to unwind, Bond Charge's face mask is something that can really add benefits to your life. It can help with wrinkles, face line, acne, relaxation, razor burns. The list is endless. Bond Charge's red light face mask is easy to use, just 10 to 20 minutes a day. I use it at bedtime, and I feel great afterwards. Go to bondcharge.com/Benny and use the coupon code Benny to save 15%. That's BONCHARGE.com/Benny and use coupon code Benny to save 15%. All right. So President Trump, we have so much news here. Oh, man. We have so much news. I want to jump on over to the ex-Fauci top advisor, because I think this is critically important. So we just talked about it. The Department of Justice arrested yet, and we haven't been able to even get here. It's we could do a 5-hour show today on everything that DOJ did yesterday. The Department of Justice has accused longtime former senior advisor of Anthony Fauci of using a private email to hide his communications about the COVID-19 virus from the public view, to shape the narrative about its origins. His name is David M. Morins. He's 78 years old, and he served for years as a top advisor to Dr. Fauci. And they have him dead to rights on his emails getting around the law. And the laws state that if you are a federal bureaucrat, you have to preserve your communications because in case, I don't know, and this is just off the top of my head. Let me just try and come up with a scam here. So 9/11 happens. Whatever you think about it, it happened, right? And then they used that as a precursor to create something called the Patriot Act, which is the worst piece of legislation ever passed in this country. And that's, of course, it's up there. It's up there. I can think of some other. Hart-Celler is really, really bad too. Would you have even had 9/11 without Hart-Celler? I don't know. It's worth the debate. But let's say in my lifetime, the worst piece of legislation in my lifetime was the Patriot Act. It gave infinity dollars to people like Dr. Fauci in order to create bioweapons. And that's what Dr. Fauci did. And he created bioweapons labs all around America, and those bioweapons kept leaking out of his labs. It was so egregious that Barack Obama, of all people, in an insane move that I can't even argue with at all from Barack Obama, shut down Dr. Fauci and said, you're not allowed to do crazy ass experiments where you manipulate biology itself because you're so bad at it. And instead of Dr. Fauci getting arrested and prosecuted for this, what he did was he just money laundered his federal dollars through an organization called EcoHealth Alliance, a guy named Peter Daszak, who's all over these emails, and went offshore with them to Wuhan. And that is exactly why Dr. Fauci could promise a virus. Do we have the clip? I know we do. Danny sent it or ALX sent it. That's exactly why Dr. Fauci could promise a surprise outbreak, because Dr. Fauci created a virus with the money that he was given from the Patriot Act. He was working with the CIA. He was working with the Pentagon to do it. Dr. Fauci created a virus and then loosed it on the world. He loosed it on the world when he knew that the world would be traveling to Wuhan, China. You know exactly when they did that. It was called the Military Games of 2019, at the very end of December. Every single person that came home from those military games got sick. And then they brought the COVID-19 novel virus back to their countries of origin. Where did everybody fly into? Seattle. Where did our military games competitors fly into? Seattle. Where was the first outbreak of COVID? Seattle. It all came from Wuhan. You can trace it all back, and you can trace it actually back to this clip right here. Here's Dr. Fauci, and the timeline is critically important. And this is at Georgetown University, in a poorly attended hall of people just having lunch. Nobody gave a damn about Dr. Fauci. Nobody cared about this 4-foot-tall little goblin, a little midget elf. And what he's saying here is he's delivering a criminal confession. The criminal confession is, I am going to loose a man-made virus on all of you in this administration to rig an election. It's funny, something about the soul, no matter how dark, craven it is still screams out for truth because you're created by God. You're made by a creator that is truth itself, light and truth. And so here's Dr. Fauci just straight up telling the truth about what he's about to do to our nation.
Is that there is no question that there will be a challenge to the coming administration in the arena of infectious diseases, both chronic infectious diseases in the sense of already ongoing disease, and we have certainly a large burden of that, but also there will be a surprise outbreak.
Oh, a surprise outbreak. There will be a surprise outbreak. Oh, weird. You know, Dr. Fauci's been around since Nixon administration. Do you know this? You know, Dr. Fauci's 80 years old or something. He's been around, what is he, 86? He's old, dude. Dr. Fauci's been serving in a presidential administration since Nixon. It's weird. Did he say this about Gerald Ford? Did he say this about Jimmy Carter, that there'll be a surprise outbreak? Did he say this during Reagan, either of Reagan's administrations? Did he say it during either of Clinton's administrations? Did he say it during either Bush administrations or Barack Obama administrations? Can you find any other clip of Dr. Fauci saying there'll be a surprise outbreak? No, of course you can't. Because he was waiting for an administration that wasn't allowed by the deep state, which runs Dr. Fauci, which funds Dr. Fauci and created Dr. Fauci. So he has there's a single time in his life that he's threatened a surprise outbreak. And he says there will be. Not there might be, which is what a scientist would say. There's a probability. Maybe there's like a 10% probability. Who knows? He says he's certain that there will be a surprise outbreak. Well, how can you be certain about something that's a surprise? Jackass. Makes me so angry. Sorry for my foul language on the show. It makes my blood boil that like he's been able to get away with this. I really, we're going to have a full Dr. Fauci show tomorrow, where we bring on Rand Paul and Ron Johnson and a bunch of the people that have been fighting against Dr. Fauci, and we're going to deep dive into this. But the fact that his advisors are being arrested, and this guy was arrested, and the fact that they are now facing these indictments and they're getting put in handcuffs and frog marched in the DOJ is so awesome. In this DOJ indictment, you can see Dr. Fauci's name all over it. You could conceivably see charges against Dr. Fauci in the coming weeks. That's what we've been told. And so now's the time, ladies and gentlemen, to get really serious about this. And it's pretty cool. Pretty cool to be seeing, ladies and gentlemen. It's very cool to see these kind of things happening with our friends at American Financing. American Financing is your home for home loans. If you wish to get out of debt, if you wish to have a brighter American future, one without Dr. Fauci as a free man, hopefully in jail, call American Financing today. Things are very expensive. It's something that we harp about all the time. Groceries, gas, utility bills. You're essentially paying a survival tax of 20% interest or more if you are racking that stuff up on credit card debt. Start today to get debt free by calling American Financing. You could delay a mortgage payment or two. American Financing, America's home for home loans, 888-528-1219. That's 888-528-1219. AmericanFinancing.net/Benny. This is something that rings like a bell. Was President Trump getting a gift from the king last night? I think it's very cool. Donald Trump gave a really funny speech. Hey, Alex, do you have that clip of Trump giving a speech? It's pretty cool. Trump saying that the king got Democrats to stand for him, and something inside of a speech to Congress, and that's something that Trump has never done. LOL. It's kind of funny. Saved by the bell. King delivers a lesson in diplomacy as he gifts President Trump a bell from the World War II Royal Navy submarine. I thought this was a neat moment. Maybe you did as well. The number of dignitaries and prestigious attendees last night is endless. It was really cool. Tim Cook was there. He's the head of Apple. He gave a donation to the SPLC, so hopefully he asked for his money back. Who else was there? I mean, like the entire Trump family, the entire administration. I saw some great photos. Anyway, it was a wonderful night, a royal night, and a night for kindred Anglo-Saxon blood, as they would say, right? Here we go. Here's the king gifting a bell to Donald Trump. Donald Trump clearly moved, so moved that he jumped up from his chair, something, of course, you never see Trump do. Here we go.
Together, we can meet the challenges of an increasingly complex and contested world. And speaking of submarine alliances, there was one particular AUKUS predecessor, launched from a UK shipyard in 1944, that served for the majority of her life attached to the 4th Submarine Squadron in Australia, playing a critical role during the war in the Pacific. Her name? HMS Trump. So tonight, Mr. President, I am delighted to present to you, as a personal gift, the original bell which hung on the conning tower of your valiant namesake. May it stand as a testimony to our nation's shared history and shining future. And should you ever need to get hold of us, or just give us a ring.
Come on. That's fun. That's fun. We have the good old fashioned cheer and merriment of the shared Anglo-Saxon blood, as President Trump said it. One of the best speeches ever. We were privileged to have it live yesterday for you. Probably one of the all-time greatest Trump speeches, honestly, is what he gave yesterday. Here's President Trump from the White House yesterday, roasting Democrats and complimenting King Charles. Here we go.
It's a great honor, and we welcome Their Majesties King Charles III and Queen Camilla of the United Kingdom to the White House. Very special place, very, very special. And I also want to, before we really begin, I want to congratulate Charles on having made a fantastic speech today at Congress. He got the Democrats to stand. I've never been able to do that. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. They liked him more than they've ever liked any Republican or Democrat, actually.
For no king, you had a no kings joke in there. Okay, so to the president's speechwriters, to Stephen Miller, far be it from me to critique. You were friends with Stephen and Katie, and they're great people, honestly. But bro, I gotta come on, dude. Stephen Miller's like Trump's top speechwriter. The no kings joke was just sitting there. It was just sitting there like a 16-inch softball, right there on the tee. But it's funny. And this is I do a terrible Trump impression, so please, I'm not trying to impress anyone here. It's funny, Democrats were out marching against kings in the streets by the millions a couple of weeks ago. And here they are standing, clapping for a king. Very interesting. Very interesting. So, what is it? I would encourage all of them to self-deport to England. Right? Like, if you want a king this bad, go get him, right? Will you take him, Your Majesty? We would like for you to take Ilhan Omar, please. Like, it's so easy. It's so easy. Stephen, you missed it. You missed it. Anyway, lots of fun. One final piece of news here, ladies and gentlemen, that is breaking also right now. We've been screaming at the top of our lungs until our voice cracks about Cole Allen. Cole Allen is the deranged, libtard, Reddit brain rot guy who tried to kill the president. And he's got a bunch of new photos out. We were upset about the security footage and angry that for some reason every single cell phone, has 4K. You could film a movie on this, and people do actually have 4K cameras, yet whenever one of these attacks occurs, it's like you're filming with a Nokia phone from 2007 through a potato. And so you never get to actually see what's going on. But now you can actually see some of the things that's going on. And so let's go ahead and jump on over here. This is breaking news. ALX added it to the script live during the show. So we're going to look at all this for the first time live together. New photos of Cole Allen and new photos of the attack and attackers. ALX, there's something that's missing here that I saw, which is also images of the attack, please. There's crisp, brand new photos of that, and I want to be able to put that up for the audience. It's from the Washington Post. Please go grab that right away. White House Correspondence Dinner suspect Cole Allen took smirking selfie while armed to the teeth before attack on ballroom. What you can see here, and if we could click through these photos, is that this is not some lunatic. Yeah, of course, what I'm saying here is it's not some guy on LSD, right, who had a bad trip on a street corner and grabbed a rock and decided to just sprint as fast as he could with his piss-soaked sweatpants on into this event. And there's plenty of those people in D.C. There's lots of them. This is somebody who who deeply understood what he was doing, who planned it methodically, who was radicalized in order to get something like this done, and went here to kill. Wearing, what is this? Like the Hitman character uniform, right? He went in to kill. There it is. Look at that. So what we have played here and what we've constantly explained to people is that there was an AI-enhanced version of the grainy video that was released. And so we played that just because it gave sort of a clearer take than just the blobs on screen. But like here, you can see with absolute clarity that Cole Allen, shotgun in hand, wearing his little red tie and his little assassination LARPer outfit, assassin LARPer, is running right through the magnetometer. Look at that. Running right through the mags. And they're taking the mags down. Trump's on stage and they're taking down the mags. Everybody is standing there watching. What the F? Sorry to yell. I don't want to yell. It makes me so, this image should make you enraged. Every one of these people get a pension. They get like taxpayer. I'm not like going off against the cops here, but yeah, maybe I am. Okay, maybe I am. What are you doing? Are those TSA agents? They've got to be. Zoom, enhance. Those have got to be TSA agents up there. Let me go ahead and check. Can we get sort of like a little, let's get, yes, those are, look that, the TSA, those are like TSA blue. Here's a dude looking the other way. This guy's looking the other way. Yeah, sorry about this, guys. Washington Post doesn't make it easy. They've locked all this stuff off, and it's hard to like actually navigate these photos. So here you can see him like go, like there are agents everywhere, and then there it is. Oh man, there it is. I don't know, Klein, if you can swipe through the actual photos here. You can see that an officer discharged his weapon, which is like, frankly, well done. Because because bro was moving, he was sprinting, he was going fast. Officer discharged his weapon and shot the other officer. That's what is almost like a guarantee here. Look at that. You can see the muzzle of the gun. Look at that. You can see the discharge right there. You can see the muzzle flash. He took multiple shots, and then I think he shot one of these TSA agents that were standing there. Those are TSA agents. Those are TSA agents running the mags through the event. Muzzle flash. So you can see he clocked a couple of shots in there. Secret Service agents didn't stop him, didn't capture him. I count in this first photo, and this isn't the best image available, so there may be more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 officers. 10 officers. And this guy was able to rocket through all of it. This guy was able to like cut through it like hot butter. 10 officers standing right there. Wow. And then you can see the Secret Service officer where he just blitzed by, which I don't know why you're not stopping him with your body, honestly, just to jump out in front of him, tackle him. Secret Service officer is just reaching for his gun in the final frame here. So there you go. You can see him just reaching for his gun, and then you can see Cole Allen sprinting by him in a flash. He doesn't even get his gun out of the holster. Do you remember the lady Ghostbuster in Butler, Pennsylvania, that couldn't holster her weapon? Dude, what is going on? We gotta get different training for these guys. You gotta do a full hot wash of the entire Secret Service. You've got to hire only former Delta Force guys. Like if this was Delta Force protecting this, you ever met these guys? Like I live in a military neighborhood. I live practically on a military base right here in Tampa. MacDill Air Force Base is like the entire, like that's where CENTCOM is. That's where a ton of special forces are out of and operate out of and do training out of. I assure you, and I talk with these guys, I'm friends with these guys. I assure you that if these individuals were manning the post here, that this guy would have been unalived the second he put his foot, the second he put his foot on the carpet, because he ran through he ran through this stairwell, he would have been unalived. He wouldn't have gotten to the mags. He wouldn't have gotten 2 steps. I promise you. I've trained with these guys. I've seen these guys like you're talking like less than a second on the trigger, and accurate shots for moving targets. Very accurate shots for moving targets. If you had Delta Force, if you had look at the number of officers that are just standing there. The guy with the mags is still just on his knees. What a nightmare. What a nightmare. Just want to say, thank God. That's what I want to say. Thank God. Because if somebody had been, if this had been a sophisticated nation state, if Iran had just sent 20 guys with AR-15s or AK-47s to be here in this moment, to stand there in that moment, that would have been it. It would have been over. It would have been over. They would have been able to slaughter hundreds of people. And they would have been able to get shots off on the president, for sure. You would have been able to get shots off on Trump and Melania. Somebody would have been able to get in there, and as was explained yesterday on the show, you have Melania and Trump up on stage, sort of in an elevated position, right in the center. So you would have been able to see them. And then there would have been crossfire, right? You would have had crossfire with the actual tactical forces that protect the president. And so so it would have been 2 military units engaging in crossfire, and in between them would have been hundreds, if not thousands of people, some of them journalists, a lot of them people of the media, but then a ton of White House officials in between and cabinet secretaries. So who's in between? So you have Trump on stage, you have attackers at the doorway, and then caught in the middle would have been Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr. Caught in the middle would have been Stephen Miller, dozens of other cabinet officials or White House operators. You could have lost half the government. You could have lost half the elected federal government. So just in case you're wondering here, if you're talking about the true attack on our democracy, if you're like somebody who worries, about those kind of things, like libs claim to, this is it. And it was a lib. It wasn't a granny on January 6th. Ladies and gentlemen, all this stuff captured in 4K, potentially from a camera, maybe from a Patriot Mobile device. I don't know. Patriot Mobile delivers premium priority access on all 3 major networks. They are our Christian conservative wireless provider. We look forward to chilling with them in Dallas tomorrow. We're going to be in Dallas for an awesome event with America First Principles and Priorities. It's going to be an amazing event, and we look forward to it if you're in the Dallas area. Come to Cowtown in Fort Worth. It's going to be a blast. You can bring your Patriot Mobile device. Go to patriotmobile.com/Benny and call 972-PATRIOT. Use promo code Benny for a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/Benny. Call 972-PATRIOT to make the switch today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our verse of the day here from Amos. Let's go. But let justice roll on like a river, righteousness like a never-failing stream. Amos 5:24. Let it go, ladies and gentlemen. We're excited about the work that's being done by the president's administration right now. We're going to cheerlead it. It's time, I think, for a reset, for delivery of what we all voted for and the promises. We've been a strong ally of the administration and a good friend and somebody who simply wishes to encourage and uplift. And that is why we have our verse of the day, frankly, to uplift you and to encourage. And we pray that God blesses you on this beautiful Wednesday. Have a great one. See ya.
Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? FBI, open up! What comes around does go around. Now here we are down underground. Comey's wig, uncovering something big. Like Big Mike, a honeypot, no better operation cross-dresser. Like Big Mike, they went off the books, now their balls are cooked. Like Big Mike, 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 Mike. Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Everything will be okay. Guess what day? What day? It's hump day. Get it on.
The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest kings, and their dying legacy, media deal weeds. Soon will the penny show come to mind, the salt from lives for fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun, we sail for number one. Come to mind, the salt from lives for fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun, we sail for number one. The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest king.